Hello, Pirate Dave here. It is another new comic book day. It's April 15th, 2026. Let's get right into it with some comic books. Up first is Deathstroke the Terminator, number 2. This is riffing off of Christopher Priest's development for the character, starting from Rebirth, but it's not Christopher Priest. It is Fleeks. I forget the first name of the author. Tony Fleeks, I think. Christopher Priest prefers to be unpredictable, and he has layers upon layers upon layers of character development, of motivation, especially for a character like Deathstroke. So I think we'll probably get less less misdirection from Fleeks, but so far the story is Deathstroke attempting to reconnect with Rose, his daughter. Meanwhile, there's a new player in the game, another assassin type, just like Deathstroke and Deadshot. And in fact, Deadshot, I believe, is teased either for this issue or next issue. Big fan of Deadshot, so definitely looking forward to that. Take a look at some of that art there. Let's see, maskless Deathstroke. Those laser sights just coming off panel. Always like that. Always like that perspective. I'm not super, I wouldn't say I'm super invested in this one coming off of the number one, but there's certainly a lot of action, as you can see. Go ahead and leave it there, not expose too much, especially if action is going to be your main draw for this book. Personally, I'm looking for a bit of balance between action and character development for Deathstroke. Up next, a little bit in the vein of Deathstroke, right? We have Lobo number 2. They both debuted at the same week last month, I believe, as well. Lobo is going to be starring in his own reality show. This is very much in the vein of the 90s Lobo stories, you know, the ones that started him, his original solo series, and Lobo's back, infanticide, things like that. I don't know if we'll get as I don't know if we'll get as intense as those books. I think nowadays, you know, violence is probably a little bit more acceptable for a character like Lobo, but we won't get some of the more like racier things, I think. You can see nice big exaggerated physiologies and the design of those monster pistols he has there. And I love the design of the uniform he's wearing as well. It's absolutely great. Lobo's just a super fun time, and I think this is a book that nobody should expect to take too seriously, of course, which is how Lobo should be, right? You know, I mean, hopefully they learned their lesson from New 52 Lobo. No offense if you like New 52 Lobo, but I just prefer what we have. Up next is G.I. Joe number 21. This is the Energon Universe G.I. Joe, so the current rebooted universe that coincides with Transformers, right? And right off the bat, we're getting a teaser with Scarlet and Storm Shadow. They have not been in the series thus far. Scarlet had her own little solo mini to start out with, alongside the other solo minis like Duke and Destro, etc. But they have not appeared in the mainline series just yet. We can see, is that Snowjob there? I really like these panels. They're very reminiscent more of a Real American Hero. And of course that's not that's not crud on the page, it's snow in front of these characters. You see Scarlet and Jinx there. And I don't think we'll get too deep into this issue because, like I said, it is revealing Scarlet and Storm Shadow into the larger world. And I'm sure that's going to be exciting for someone. Up next is another G.I. Joe, a Real American Hero, Silent Missions. Remember, there's 3 S's in that. Silent Missions. And this one is going to be Zartan, the leader of the Dreadnoks. I've really been enjoying these silent missions. The last week was Crimson Guard. There was an unnamed Crimson Guardsman, but it had a lot of Cobra Commander in it. Still, I don't think I prefer to see elite troops, you know, no matter how elite, have their own, you know, one shots. Maybe that's just me, but you have so many characters to pull from, that it's like you you spent one on a Crimson Guard. It's unfair to Zartan that I spent his little preview talking about a Crimson Guardsman, but perhaps it's in the proper vein, right? Since Zartan does seem to take on the form of other characters. Maybe it's appropriate. I didn't plan that though. Up next is Redcoat number 17. I feel like Redcoat's coming back from a break. It feels like it's been a couple of months since we got the last Redcoat. And to be honest, I'm not sure if this is continuing off of a story arc or it's starting a new one. Looks like it's taking place in 1909. The thing about Redcoat that I've been iffy about is some of these issues, you know, he has some pretty mature character development. I mean that in the, you know, his emotional state, not in terms of like racy context or anything. But again, when we first meet Redcoat, you know, in our world, in the real world, is in the Geiger 80-page giant, and in that he is a smarmy jerk. You know, he's immature, and so whatever character progression he has in these books from meeting these wonderful characters, I don't want to spoil too much about who that is. You may recognize him. No matter how much character development we see from him, there's a point of regression coming, right? Unless they change direction, you know, with Northerner messing with time and all that, that could be a possibility, I suppose. Up next, we have Vampirella Armageddon number 10. This is Vampirella Armageddon. It's not Christopher Priest. Christopher Priest writes the mainline Vampirella series, no subtitle. He does write some subtitled series from time to time, but usually it's the mainline series. This is Sniegowski, Tom Sniegowski. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Sniegowski. This takes place in Hell. Vampirella has been taken there. She has a entity hidden within her that is destined to become the leader of these hell forces, and in fact you can see the entity right there. It looks just like Vampirella, right? You know, and apparently this entity has been in Vampirella for quite a while. It's been the source of many of her powers, but I think by the end of this, and you know, not to bury the lead, I'm sure that we're going to get a reunification where Vampirella realizes this dark entity is a part of her. We don't we don't read Vampirella comics for striking originality, do we? We read Vampirella comics for things like this, you know. And the art is absolutely fantastic. It has been, not just the art, but the design. And you don't really see it here, but even the design of this outfit is really great. But there was a Xena sort of inspired design earlier in the series that I really, really loved that they had Vampirella in. So hopefully they create some like media about that, maybe like a figure or something like that. I don't own Vampirella figures currently, but I'd buy one with the Xena outfit. And lastly, for the floppies, for my comics, in fact, is Tigress Island number 2. This is another this is another female forward, but you know, I won't say feminist forward, female forward book. These models are basically taken to this island where they're being forced to, I guess, just live there in confinement. I don't think we know exactly why. I imagine it's going to be a battle royale type situation, like a Hunger Games type situation for those that don't get the battle royale reference. I guess everybody does nowadays, now that battle royale games are like super popular. I'm super out of loop. I still reference them as the movie. You know, again, this is one of those books that you don't take seriously, and maybe that's my whole haul this week. Mostly is books that are just about having fun with, again, you know, racy sort of, you know, sexy drawn characters and things like that. Just something fun to, you know, something fun to flip the pages on. For the bonus this week it's comic related, right? This is Saturday Morning Cards is the name of the company. The Phantom limited edition card. They make these high-end cards, designer cards, you might want to call them. And basically the idea is that it's one card. There's one card in here. It's already cased in a hard case, a beautifully Phantom themed hard case. It's $30 right out of the gate. The base card, the one that you're guaranteed to get, is a high quality foil card and all that. And then there's also chase tiers above that. But it's the idea of that you're not buying a 9 card pack, you're not flipping all the way back to the, last card to find the rare card and see what you got. You're going to get the rare card because there's limited numbers of all of the cards, all of the tiers of this card printed, equivalent to, other collectible cards, right? That being said, it's still a rising company, and they don't just make the Phantom. They make, man, it's hard to get these stickers off, but I did want to unbox this on camera. They make all sorts of licensed characters, from Mickey Mouse to Winnie the Pooh to Street Fighter. There's a whole Street Fighter series. Dick Tracy, the Rocketeer, is getting the Volume 2. And there's, in fact, going to be a Phantom Volume 2. I got this one actually off of eBay. So these are sold out on Saturday Morning Cards website, but you can still find them dropping on eBay from time to time. I actually got this cheaper on eBay than I would have getting it from Saturday Morning Cards, because Saturday Morning Cards has like a $10 minimum shipping too. This was advertised on eBay as the base card, not a chase card. It was not open, so we will see if they just knew what they were talking about, that it was a base card. And of course, if it is, it's going to be nice either way. And it's not the base card. This illustration is the same as the base card, but if you look very closely, and let's see if we can get the, you see there's rain going in front of the Phantom. All the variants are not like as subtle as that. Some of them are starburst foil, if you're familiar with that, and then other kinds of foil. Some of them are different colored costumes for the Phantoms from the different regions that he's in. Some of them are entirely different illustrations, portrait illustrations, and even sketch cards. This actually run didn't have any sketch cards for the chase cards. They were separately purchasable, but they will be in the future. And so, yeah, it's not made out of metal or anything like that, but it is, as you can see, it's a high quality foil card. The case is nice, high quality, magnetic, standard size. And this is how you can tell that it's not the base card, because the rare chase cards are individually numbered. So there's only 100 Rain variant Phantom cards existing out there, to give you an idea of the rarity of these cards. I now own about like a dozen of these cards total, and I think I have 3 copies of Rain variants, to be honest. I had a lot of fun, picking up these cards. I can't wait to get the second volume. In fact, I think I'm gonna buy a lot of copies of that one too. So if you are interested in high-end designer cards, doesn't have to be the Phantom. Like I said, there's a bunch of other licensed characters they have on there. There's even a professional wrestler, Matt Cardona, has his own line of Saturday Morning Cards on there. And they all come in a nice high-quality cardboard box with a magnetic latch. And this is displayable right on your bookshelf, right? It's designed to be just like a little book, so you can pull it off and show off your card. Well, anyway, thank you for listening to my collectible card rant. I was Pirate Dave. Hopefully you're having a great week, and I will see you next time. Bye.